Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. My name is John Campia, the best damn-looking host this show has ever had. And this is our daily show, giving you all the latest movie news with a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us today, first of all, is the senior editor of movie news here at AMC Movie Talk, Miss Amy Rose Eisenberg.
Oh, hello, guys. Greetings and salutations. We have such a lovely host today. So glad he was able to make us a part of his day.
You know, I had to fit it into my schedule. Also joining us, of course, is AMC's very own Miri Jetikin.
Hello, I'm so happy I'm with all the ladies today.
Ladies' night.
And, of course, completing our first all-female table today is Miss Alicia Malone.
Sorry, just important Instagramming business. Selfie. I love this. I'm so excited.
All right, let's get started with this. The brand new Transformers film, Transformers: Age of Extinction, opens in AMC theaters everywhere on June 27th, and a brand new trailer has just hit the web this morning. The film stars Mark Wahlberg, Nicola Peltz, Stanley Tucci, and Kelsey Grammer. Amy Rose, what do you think of this new Transformers trailer?
All right, so I'm not going to lie. I've been a little negative about this Transformers. I was not pleased when it was announced, but the trailer was pretty awesome. Dinobots, fabulous. Grimlock, I mean, we see remnants of Megatron. Like, it's really good. And I really like how they're kind of reinventing the story and not trying to do another, like, the extinction factor and Mark Wahlberg. And I like how the romance is not of the main protagonist, it's the daughter. And, like, I think there's a lot of elements that keep this feeling a little more fresh. So I'll be the first to admit that I was super negative about it, but the trailer looked pretty crisp and pretty exciting. And there were still elements of cheese in there, of course. Michael Bay does it best, but it definitely impressed me. And it started off with Stanley Tucci. And he is one of the greatest ever. And add him to a film, Kelsey Grammer is going to be in there. I mean, we have some good elements in here. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, Bay, for now. What do you think, Miri?
I agree with you. I'm not like the biggest Transformers fan, but this definitely got my adrenaline going. It made me excited to see the movie. I also, when I was watching it, didn't really hear the da-na. I just kept hearing ka-ching, because this movie is going to make like squadrillions of dollars. It's going to do so well. So I'm excited to see it. I don't know. It made me kind of want to see this movie, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not that excited. You know, I'm not a big Michael Bay fan, and this has all the hallmarks of a Michael Bay movie.
Sure does.
It's got the oversaturation of the colors, the sweeping camera that goes around, and the aerial shots, the explosions. There was a running away from an explosion. Maybe there'll be a slow motion walk away from an explosion. I'm not sure. But I do have to admit that seeing Optimus Prime riding a fire-breathing Dinobot made me excited. So that's the only thing I'm excited about. But yeah, Michael Bay, the girl with the short shorts, come on.
I mean, that's expected. But Peter Cullen voicing Optimus Prime again, like, there are elements. But yeah, the short shorts, we're going to get a lot of those shots. You just know it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So what's next, John?
Well, Optimus Prime riding into battle on Grimlock wielding a massive sword. There's guys everywhere saying, F yeah. Okay, so in a recent interview with IGN, actor Jesse Eisenberg was asked about his role as Lex Luthor in the upcoming Man of Steel 2 and how he is approaching the role as the infamous Superman nemesis. Eisenberg responded with the following: I don't know the history as well as the people making the movie, so I guess it's up to them to figure out how much they want to separate it from the previous incarnations. But I will treat it like it's its own role. There's no way to play the history of the character played by other people unless you do some kind of wink, but that doesn't really seem like a responsible way to act. So I will just do it as though it's its own character. Miri, what do you think about Eisenberg's comments?
Well, I know that it's, you know, brought about a lot of ire from some diehard fans, but I have to agree with him. I think it would be irresponsible for him to try to bring the kitchen sink into his performance, and he made a very good point when he said that this is really about the people creating the film, and it's up to them to decide this iteration of Lex Luthor and what kind of Lex Luthor they want to put forth. It's his job to show up and bring out what's on the page to the best of his ability as an actor. That said, it probably would be good for him to know a little bit about Lex Luthor, but I'm sure he does. Who doesn't? It's one of the most iconic villains in comic book history. So I feel like he has the right approach. I don't know. I think it's up to the screenwriter and the director to really paint the picture of Lex Luthor as we know him. So
It is, but I mean, fans, of course, we hope that these actors love the properties as much as we do. Is it a requirement? No. But, you know, Andrew Garfield, whether you think he's better than Tobey or not, whether you didn't like Spider-Man 2 or not, his love for that character is just real, and you can feel the enthusiasm and passion. And that's really exciting as a fan who's grown up with this material. But, you know, only Jesse Eisenberg would use the word responsible when describing something like that. So I'm a little disappointed, but it doesn't mean he's not going to crush it.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, the people behind the lens writing this, they are diehard fans of this source material. And out of the two, that's the more important. But, of course, our dream. Like, look at Michael Fassbender, Assassin's Creed. Everyone's like, he's never played the game. But doesn't mean he's not a world-class actor who's going to do it justice. So what do you think?
Exactly. Eisenberg is such an interesting actor. I mean, The Double, if you watch that, which is out on video demand at the moment, where he plays two very different characters, and Social Network, I mean, he's shown that he's really unique. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings to Lex Luthor. I mean, he couldn't do what Gene Hackman did in those films, and hopefully he wouldn't do what Kevin Spacey
Please don't
did.
do what Kevin Spacey
Please
did.
don't do that. And with Superman, I mean, I feel the same not reading any of the comic books. There's 76 years of them. It's like, where do you start? It's so overwhelming. So I like that he's treating this as a character separate to everything else, and hopefully he'll bring something new and fresh to it.
All right, my friends, we have now reached the buy or sell portion of the show. Our lovely Campia, as host today, is going to read off a couple other items going on in the world of movie news, and this lovely panel of ladies and I are simply going to say if we buy or sell it.
Lovely Campia. You still work for me, don't forget about that. Okay, Marcel, director of the upcoming film Pitch Perfect 2, Elizabeth Banks, I love that she's directing this, has just revealed an addition to the cast. Actress Katey Sagal will join the crew joining fellow new cast member Haley Steinfeld playing her mother. Sagal is best known for her work in shows like Married with Children, Futurama, and the current show Sons of Anarchy. Pitch Perfect 2 hits AMC theaters on May 15th, 2015. Alicia, buy or sell Katey Sagal joining Pitch Perfect 2?
Bye. I love Katey. I think she's such a tough, cool chick. Plus, she's great with comedy. We've seen that in Married with Children and Futurama. And she can sing. You know, she had an album out in the 70s. She's got a new album out now. So I think she's a great choice. Plus, I like that she's playing Haley Steinfeld's mother. I think they look quite believable together. And Haley can sing as well. You'll see that in Begin Again, which comes out soon. So great choice. Pitch Perfect was such a little gem for me, like a real surprise at how funny it was. So I'm looking forward to this. And yeah, Elizabeth Banks, go girl.
Mary?
I think this is a pitch perfect casting choice. Sorry, I had to do that. I agree with you on all points. I think she's such a great, dynamic, diverse actress who obviously has a huge range and can sing. I also, I just love how female-driven this project is, and I will admit that I actually taught myself the cups.
Did you?
On one very lonely rainy
Let's
day.
hear it.
Well, I don't have cups.
Come on, I'll pull them out.
No. It's actually very difficult. I'm not very good at it, but I do love how female-driven this is. Elizabeth Banks is directing, and we have such a great female-driven cast. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, it's a buy as well. I mean, Katey is delightful. I actually did not watch Sons of Anarchy, so I don't know about that experience, but she is just such a perfectly comedic timed actress, and facial expressions, and like Haley Steinfeld, I didn't know she could sing, so that's exciting little tidbit. And Elizabeth Banks, I mean, I just think she's going to prove to be a fantastic director. She's absolutely very passionate about this. She produced the last one. I have seriously seen the first film more than I should admit. I can quote it. Rebel Wilson at her best.
So good.
It fuels my hate fire. Like, it's so good. So I'm so excited about this. And I hope her character Gail has more of a role in this, because those were some of the best moments as well. What's next?
All right, Drive and Only God Forgives director Nicholas Winding Refn is said to be in talks to direct the upcoming supernatural horror film, The Bringing. The Bringing is loosely inspired by the mysterious death of Elisa Lam. Lam's body was discovered in a water tower on the roof of Los Angeles' Cecil Hotel in February of 2013. Footage was later released from an elevator security camera that shows Lam interacting with a seemingly invisible entity. Although the script for The Beginning is not said to focus on Lam in any way, it is set at the same hotel and follows a man investigating a similar mysterious death. Amy Rose, buy or sell the sounds of The Bringing?
You had me as soon as you said Refn.
Yes.
Enthusiastic bi. I mean, whether you like his films or not, he makes a statement. He has very deliberate shots and tone and style, and he's just, I mean, most of his films are incredibly graphic, but it's in such a realistic way that even if you don't like his films, you feel something really deeply. So I just think he's a brilliant filmmaker. I've loved almost every single one of his films. Drive is still one of my favorite ever. So yeah, this premise sounds really cool and weird, which is something he does exceptionally well. So I'm very enthusiastic about this. What do you think, Alicia?
Yeah, it's such a buy for me. I'm a huge fan of Nicholas as well. He's in Cannes at the moment on the jury.
Jealous.
Jealous. Drive and Bronson, and yeah,
so
Only God Forgives was a little too much style over substance, but it was still such a unique vision.
Yeah.
And he always brings such a fresh perspective to things. So him with horror, I think, is so great. You can't think about a hotel set horror without thinking of The Shining, but I think Nicholas will bring something different to it if Sony will let him, because he's not a mainstream director. So I'd like to see him stay unique.
I think what you said is right. I'm going to buy this as well. I think he's such a wonderful director to explore horror. We haven't seen him do this genre, so it's an exciting new territory for him. And I did love Drive, and I felt the same way about as
Only
you
God
with
Forgives,
Only God
yeah.
Forgives. But I think he's a young director, and he's got so much in front of him, and it's exciting to see him diversify so quickly. That he's not getting stuck in a rut. That he's choosing different projects, and the fact that this takes place in a very historic Los Angeles landmark for those of us living here, it's pretty cool. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to buy this.
That's my heart right there.
Yeah.
What's next?
Academy Award-winning director Kathryn Bigelow, Point Break, y'all, and Dark Knight Rises actor Tom Hardy are teaming up to bring us The True American. The film is based on the real-life story of Mark Stroman, a self-professed white supremacist who went on a killing spree of South Asian convenience store workers following the 9/11 attacks in what he called an act of retribution. One, however, survived after being shot in the face and went on to fight to save Stroman's life and asked for his life to be spared from the death penalty in Texas. Miri, buy or sell the sounds of The True American?
I'm just emptying my wallet today. I'm buying this so hard. First of all, Annapurna Pictures, which is producing this, is quickly becoming one of my favorite production companies. Megan Ellison is not yet 30, and she's coming out with these incredible films. She always chooses compelling content to produce, and Kathryn Bigelow, bringing her on as director for a genre that she obviously just kicks butt in. This is her wheelhouse. This is what she knows how to do. She does it well. And then you have Tom Hardy, who can play a paper bag and win an Oscar. I mean, this man is...
That's Shia LaBeouf, I think.
Oh, right. You're right.
Not winning an Oscar.
Not winning an Oscar. TMZ Oscar. But I really am excited for this. I think anything Kathryn Bigelow does, I'm going to get excited for. But especially when you pull together this production company and this actor, it's just a dream team. I'm buying this, buying this, 100%.
Yeah, I completely agree on all fronts. I'm enthusiastically buying it as well. We're just so positive about the fact today. Kathryn Bigelow, I mean, quite a departure from Point Break.
Yeah.
Her last 3 films have been so intense and so captivating, and that's really saying something from a female perspective who has not actually embarked in war, to really give us that narrative and to feel like we're there. So I think she really brings out the best in her actors. She's really got an eye for this, and Tom Hardy, like you said, he's quality. And I completely agree on Annapurna. Like, when Megan first inherited this, we're all like, okay, like, that's the dream. We all wish we could do that. And she really, like, from her to this, you know, and even her brother's Skydance, like, you know, with Terminator, and, like, they're just a very... Their family knows what's up. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Alicia?
Yeah, of course, it's a buy. You can't not be positive about this. This is so exciting. A dream team, as you said.
Truly.
I mean, Kathryn Bigelow has such an uncompromising look at the post-9/11 world. And the title of this movie, The True American, I think that's fascinating. Plus Tom Hardy, he is brilliant. Locke is playing in AMC theatres.
I haven't
you
seen
should
it yet.
go and see it, because it's him in a car driving for an hour and a half, and it is compelling. And that's all because of him. So I'm looking forward to this one. Buy it now. I smell Oscar. Let's just give all the awards now.
That Oscar smells real good. All right, guys, before we get to mailbag, I do want to remind you we are going to take some live questions today, so be nice to our fearless leader, Campia, or he's not going to pick yours. All right, so what's on the floor for mailbag today? Taking your user-submitted questions by request.
First question today comes from Tyler Navarro, who writes, "Hey guys, love the show. Haven't missed a show since I started listening 4 months ago." Well, thank you very much, Tyler. Quick question. What happened to Martin Lawrence? Last movie I remember seeing him in was Big Mama's House 2, and haven't seen him since. Think he will make a comeback? Thanks, and keep up the great work.
Thank you for the question, Tyler. Martin Lawrence. I think he had a little bit of a stint in TV there for a minute.
And in drugs as well. Sorry, but it's the truth. I mean, that's what happened, isn't it? He kind of got derailed by an addiction, and I think, you know, last I heard was TV also, that he was doing something with like Kelsey Grammer, but I don't know if that ever happened. I don't know if it's supposed to come out. It's a Lionsgate thing. I don't know. So, I mean, I always thought he was a very funny guy. I thought he was super talented. If you look at his biography, I mean, this guy has been performing for like decades. He's super talented comedic actor, knows his way around producing, knows his way around all kinds of different aspects of filmmaking. So I would love to see him come back.
We are going to get Bad Boys 3.
Yeah,
so, apparently. I feel like we are, because they're just loving the sequels and completing
Ride
trilogies.
Along did so well.
Exactly.
That's what Martin Lawrence is doing right now. Every morning at 8 a.m. he delivers donuts to Michael Bay's house and asks, hey, how's that Bad Boys 3 script coming along, Michael?
Well, Michael Bay is not above a little of this, so I'm just going to throw that out there. But I also do think he brings something to the screen, and I did love the Will Smith-Lawrence partnership there. I think we're kind of one of my favorite buddy cop situations. So I hope that happens, and I do think, you know, Hollywood loves a comeback. They do. Look at Zac Efron's story right now. I mean, they truly do. We want to give them the benefit of the doubt. We want to give them our love and support. Also, lots of criticism, because that's the nature of the beast. But I do think he has talent, and I would like to see him kind of a resurgence of Lawrence.
Yeah, he hasn't had a hit, I think, since Wild Hogs in 2007.
That was a hit?
Well, yeah, it was. It made a lot of money.
By financial standards, yes.
Financial standards. Yeah, if we're talking financial standards, that was his last hit.
Wow.
But Big Mama's House didn't even make much money, so he needs one. Bruckheimer, I know, said he's really hopeful that Bad Boys 3 makes it, but it's just really hard to lock Will Smith down.
And now that he's not a part, well, it should be a little easier now.
Easier now, right?
He said his schedule is full, so who knows.
Yeah, we shall see. All right, what's next?
All right, Jamie Martin writes, I've just been to see Neighbors, except I haven't. I've just been to see the movie called Bad Neighbors because I live in the UK. So to my question, why are films titled differently internationally? If I'm not mistaken, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was subtitled Rise of Electro in South America. Is it a cultural marketing thing or more rooted in copyright?
Great question. So our very own Alicia actually just covered Bad Neighbors for Australia. So I'll let her start this one.
Yeah, so I know the answer to this particular question because in Australia and in the UK, there's an Australian soap opera that's really popular called Neighbours. Everyone's good neighbours. Anyway, it's been running for 30 years. It launched actors like Russell Crowe and Guy Pearce and Margot Robbie and Liam Hemsworth.
Just small names like that.
Small names.
No big deal.
Everyone knows it. So I was told by the publicist of the film in Australia that they changed the title to Bad Neighbours so that no one would go in hoping for a feature-length movie of the Australian TV soap opera. So that's definitely for that one.
Well, it is a cultural, I mean, just being from Canada, which isn't such a cultural leap from the United States, the cultural marketing is definitely a thing, especially when you have different languages involved. Like, I remember when Speed 2 came out, it was Speed 2 Cruise Control, but in French it was Ça va clencher, which literally translates to it's going to trigger.
That's way hotter.
Who knows why? I mean, it's a mystery to me even, and I grew up in a place where I saw different language posters and different titles. So I think cultural marketing is a huge, I think it's a bigger deal than copyright. I think that's to your point. Like, there's different things that happen in different countries that make titles change.
I remember The Hangover was Very Bad Trip in France. I love that.
And there's also, like, I used to actually do some marketing at Warner Brothers many years ago, and there's literally a team dedicated per market to this. So it's very strategic. They definitely do a lot of different tests, and I mean, they really do try to resonate with the particular audience to try to make as much of this again. So that's really the end of the day what they're trying to do, and if they can
make it rain.
Exactly, make it rain. If they can phrase something a little differently to entice the audience more in this region, they're going to do it. So it is strategic. But I liked the Bad Neighbors thing because we were actually in New York having a spot of tea and talking about how you covered Bad Neighbors.
Yeah,
so I thought that was good.
that awkward moment in Australia was called Are We Officially Dating? And they even changed the poster to make it look more romantic. So it was Zach and Imogen Poots walking through a leafy Central Park rather than the three boys.
That's kind of fun.
It's funny.
Love it.
All right, so now it is time for the live questions. I hope you were nice to Captain Canada. He's got the floor. What's
And
the
just
first one?
once again, guys, don't forget you can tweet to us at AMC Movie News. And the first question we got in the Twitter stream right now comes from Christopher Parsons, who writes, "What's your favorite video game adaptation by Paul W.S. Anderson? The first Mortal Kombat movie or the first Resident Evil movie?"
Ooh.
Okay, so I grew up on fighting games. So I'm gonna go Mortal Kombat. It was so bad, it was so good. And I mean, we've already done the sing-along, Schnepp and I, on the show several times. It's so good. It's so good. So it's one of those films that's a guilty pleasure for me. Resident Evil, I do think Mila was pretty fantastic as Alice. I know a lot of people weren't, but for an adaptation, the games are still 10 times better, but I didn't think it was bad, but my vote is Mortal Kombat, Mary.
Yeah, I'm going to go Mortal Kombat for the same reason. I remember seeing it. I did see it in the theater. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
I saw
Don't
it in
be
the theater.
sorry.
I was a kid, and like you, I grew up playing Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. And so these were like, it was fun to see it come to life. It's obviously not, this is not a good movie. It's not a great movie,
No,
but it's so
it's
much
awful.
fun.
It's awesome.
It was my nostalgia growing up, and I go with Mortal Kombat, even though Resident Evil is probably, to your point, like a better produced overall production.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat is my heart.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm not a video gamer, so I haven't played either of these games, but I liked Resident Evil just in terms of the tone and how it set up the world, and I really liked Mila in that role, so I would choose that or neither.
Cool. What's next?
The correct answer is Mortal Kombat. All right, the next question today comes to us in the Twitter stream from Tyler Myers, who's writing, "Hey, who's the better female action hero, Ellen Ripley or Sarah Connor?"
Ooh.
That's a great versus question. That's a
That
great versus
is
topic.
great.
Really
Dear
hard.
Dear God.
That is a really hard
It's
question.
tough.
Which Sarah Connor?
I mean,
and which...
we just had this versus, and I've got to say that, I mean, Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor would probably take my vote because T2, as I've said, is in my top 5 favorite films of all time.
Yeah.
It's perfection, and she was just like the epitome. I mean, that's pretty much when it started changing in film. Like, sure, we still see a lot of over-sexualized women in it and who are just like the damsel in distress, but she was badass and demanded full attention, pipes, and just those guns.
Yeah.
She was great. But
That's what I meant.
Sigourney
Pipes,
is pipes, guns,
all the
whatever.
same.
But Sigourney is so iconic in that as well. And I was hoping that they would get both in the female Expendables movie because you kind of have to have them.
That would be awesome.
It makes no sense to me. So because of my love for T2 specifically, I would go that route. But I mean, Sigourney and Aliens is pretty incredible too.
Really
so.
tough. I mean, I would
These
choose...
are good questions
it's a
today,
great
John.
question. and hi, Tyler, because I know Tyler through Twitter. But I would choose Ripley just because of the fact that the character was written with no gender in mind at all, and that makes her really interesting. So they didn't write it either male or female, and then when it came to casting, Sigourney kicked butt, and she owned that character.
Yeah.
And so I like that.
She was kind of androgynous in her own right, so
I like
kind of
it.
worked.
Yeah, I have to go with Ripley as well, also because of the psychology of her character. And you're right, it was a genderless character when they wrote it, but I also feel like every decision she makes, you see on her face, you see her mind working all the time. Not that you don't with Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
Sarah Connor has a very visceral intelligence, but
Very.
Ripley is like a highly intelligent being. She goes
is.
face to face with these crazy aliens, and she never
Get
loses
away
her
from
cool.
her.
Yeah, she never misses a beat. She never loses a step, and yet she's still realistic and she's still relatable. And I think that's such a wonderful line that she walks as a character. I've always loved Ripley.
The last scene when she thinks she's finally home free, and then, it's so good. This makes me. That really is a good versus question, though, John.
Yeah.
So, real quick, what would your vote be?
Oh God, I'm gonna have to go with Sarah Connor. There's just something about
Great.
once you get into Terminator 2,
Yeah,
and you
teaches-
see her in her cell doing the chin ups and stuff like that. It's
yeah.
like,
Hot.
nuh-uh.
Yeah.
I'm leaving her alone. I'm just leaving this one alone.
Way. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna let people know that our next versus topic, we changed it. The next versus topic is who is the better archer hero in movies, Katniss or Hawkeye? So that's going to be
That's
coming
awesome.
up on the next
I know
installment
my
of
vote.
Versus.
Yeah,
Anyway,
for sure.
the next question today comes to us from Omar Dino, who writes, question, why isn't Steven Spielberg making great sci-fi movies anymore? I just want to see his movie magic again.
Don't we all, my friend?
Yeah.
Don't we all?
What, you didn't like Lincoln? Just kidding.
That's not sci-fi.
I mean, I feel like, his earlier films that really set the, sci-fi and obviously Jurassic Park and like so many good ones. But I feel like he went through a period where he really wanted to touch period pieces with Lincoln, with Warhorse, with all that. And that was very anchored to a different audience and, well, probably the same audience in his mind. And also just to explore just richer tones and stuff like that. So I think that was great, but those are the films that I'd rather see him go back to as well.
But didn't he also just put Robo-Apocalypse on the back burner for another, like, period type? I mean, I would love to see him go back to sci-fi.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think he kind of goes with what he's interested in, and he's the godfather of Hollywood. He can do whatever he wants. So if he wants to do period pieces for the next 10 years, he will. And you know what? He'll do an amazing job at those. And then I'm very excited for the day when he comes back to sci-fi, because I think with visual effects being what they are now and storytelling having changed the way it has since he was in his heyday of doing all those movies, Close Encounters and all that stuff, which is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
Same.
I'm excited to see him bring his brand of humanity back into sci-fi. I think that'll be very exciting. So do it, Steven.
Do it, Steven.
Do it, Steven.
Mark
I'd
my
love
words.
to see the sci-fi.
Steven Spielberg will direct one of the new Star Wars films.
Oh.
Before it's all
that
said
would be
and done,
so
his
awesome.
connection
It
to
feels
One of
like
the
it would be
options.
a wasted opportunity if he
Yeah.
didn't.
But something that he's doing I'm excited about is the BFG, which is
Yes.
based on a
Yeah.
Roald Dahl book.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be able to bring that childhood magic that he brought to E.T. to that property.
I hope
I'm
so.
excited.
Yeah.
that book.
I would love to see that. Do we have time for one more?
We have time
Katya?
for one more. This is a really interesting one, actually. This is a kind of thinker question from Jan Carl Riddler, who writes, what do you think of the idea that Doctor Strange was the doctor who removed the bomb parts of Tony's body at the end of Iron Man 3?
Ooh.
That is interesting. That is very interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility.
I feel like any of these questions, though, it's always so up for grabs because
Yeah.
the Marvel Universe is so big, and they're doing such a very wonderful job of parsing everything out, movie to movie. They've got phases. I mean, they're really planning this like a military attack.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's totally possible,
Yeah.
and it could also be 8 other villains. I feel like it could be anyone, but I do like that idea.
It would
I
make
think it's really
sense
cool.
because they dropped his name in Cap, which is
Yeah.
now
Yep.
free
Stephen
range.
Strange is
so,
Doctor
and
Strange.
all of us were freaking out when that happened. So I do think that would make sense because, as we all know, Feige is freaking brilliant, and
Yeah.
all of that had intention. Like
Yeah.
they planned all of this with complete intention. So that would make a lot of sense to bring it on back.
He's like the
So,
Napoleon of Hollywood, Feige.
he's
He's
just
like, here's my
everything.
Waterloo.
Clever. And they leave it so ambiguous too,
Exactly.
so that they
Yeah.
can go anywhere and change
Exactly.
their mind and
Yeah.
mention characters here and there. I don't know a lot about Doctor Strange, but that sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I
we
like
should
it too.
tell Feige.
Guardians, hurry up because you're going to be awesome. Is that it, John?
I think that's it.
All right, that is it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We had a blast with our Ladies' Night edition,
Yeah.
and Campia holding down the fort over there. Be sure to like us, follow us, share us. We really appreciate your support. We literally could not do this without you. I would like to thank my lovely panel for today. Sitting to my right, the lovely Miri Jedikin.
Hello.
Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me here. And you can also find me on Twitter at Miri the Jedi and Instagram at Miri the Jedi. Check out my Barbarella picture today. It's pretty awesome.
Girl, don't tease us.
Wow.
I would also like to thank the lovely Alicia Malone. Where can people find you?
Thanks, Amy Rose. You can find me on Twitter at Alicia Malone or at malonesmovieminute.com or Instagram at Alicia Malone, where you can see a photo of us.
I would also like to thank our fearless leader, Mr. Captain Canada himself, John Campia.
And you guys can find me on all the various social media channels just at John Campia. And what a great job our senior
Yeah.
editor, Amy Rose Eisenbach, has done today running the show. Thanks so much,
Big
Amy
ups,
Rose.
big ups.
Yay! And thanks again. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Amy Rose. You can follow me and find me. I'm sure you can do it. And thanks again. We had a blast today. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey everyone, if you like this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.